What's up, everybody? My name is Tucker. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it down below. You can also check out my socials in the description as well. And with all this being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Houston is a very, very interesting team to me from a roster construction standpoint in terms of where they're going with this team, what their future plans are. It's just, again, just the interesting label is something I continue to apply to Houston. Because you think about not that long ago, this was a team that was in the middle of the weird no bigs on the floor Russell Westbrook experiment, which feels like forever ago. It really wasn't that long ago at all. And then not long before that, they were competing to make the finals and almost beating the greatest NBA team ever assembled and almost making the finals. And now here they are in a classic start of a rebuild situation where you've got future assets with these draft picks, got a handful of young players, they've got a ton of rookies, a ton of young players, but also still some holdovers from the previous era. You've got John Wall, who isn't technically part of the previous era, but he was traded for someone that was in Russell Westbrook. You've got Eric Gordon, who I still think has value to potential contenders around the league, and then guys like Daniel House that have just been there for a little bit. The Wall thing is weird because it's well known that he is someone that is available via trade. He's not going to play for the team this season. But as we've talked about in a previous video, a John Wall trade that provides anything of value to Houston is very, very unlikely, in my opinion, unless things change dramatically with injuries and things around the league. You'd like to get value out of him, but most likely to me, it seems like the guy you could get value out of if you wanted to move him amongst the three players I mentioned would be Eric Gordon. He can still shoot, still a good perimeter creator, stronger guy that he's not going to be an outstanding defender, but he's also not going to be a huge negative either. As long as he's healthy, he's certainly a guy that can help your team if you're a team like Dallas that wants another perimeter shooter and wing perimeter guy, a team like Philadelphia, whatever the case may be. Eric Gordon is certainly someone that still provides value. And then, like I said, there's guys like Daniel House and things like that. The other guy that I think is really interesting when you're looking at roster construction for Houston moving forward is Christian Wood. This guy is arguably the best value out of anybody that was signed in the previous free agency class in 2020. However, there are no shortage of rumors in regards to Christian Wood in terms of him maybe not being the easiest guy to get along with, or maybe not the best teammate, or maybe a bit selfish from a statistical standpoint. Whether those rumors and things are accurate remains to be seen, but it's still worth pointing out that there are teams like Detroit that weren't in a hurry to re-sign Christian Wood to a contract figure that really wasn't all that significant, and that nobody else around the league really seemed all that excited about bringing him in apart from Houston. And again, that is shown by the small contract figure he was signed to. And so I think that Christian Wood is clearly a talented player, but there are no shortage of question marks in regard to his fit, not only on this team, but in general. Is he a starter? Is he a six-man option that's a really good scorer? Is he a 4? Is he a 5? Is he someone that you really want to have on your basketball team? There are certainly questions there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them explore moving him. I know they talked about it before they decided to draft Jalen Green, when there were discussions about them drafting Evan Mobley. I'm not saying anything's going to happen with Christian Wood, but again, it's just interesting. The more you go up and down the roster, the more you look and say, man, this guy could be on the roster. He might not. There's just a lot of different changes that are possible here for Houston, and a lot of that also has to do with the future assets that they do have on this roster. They've, of course, got all those Brooklyn picks. They've got a ton of rookies and young players, like I said, and the big guy to talk about here, of course, is Jalen Green. Jalen Green has the talent to be the best player in this draft class. He is a dynamic perimeter player, really good athlete, pretty good size, and clearly has all the talent, skill, and confidence in the world. I really am starting to lean towards this idea that players that played in the G League, that look really good in the G League as part of their path towards becoming NBA players, I'm really starting to believe in not only their skill development, but also the work ethic that they would have had to put forth to improve those skills in that 1 year in the G League. And as a result, I'm really excited to see what Jalen Green is going to do in the NBA. And, this season he's going to get plenty of opportunities to, because like I said, Wall's not going to play. Gordon's going to be in and out of the lineup with injuries like he always is. He could potentially get moved. He is a dynamic player. And a lot of what Houston does moving forward is going to revolve around how good Jalen Green is or isn't. And then, like I said, you look and they've got a couple of other rookies from this draft class, a couple of other young players as well that provide some interest. But really, here's the big point about Houston for this upcoming season. They are very, very well positioned for the future. They've got veterans they can trade for assets. They've already got a significant amount of assets, whether that be draft picks or young players, and they're in a situation similar to what we've seen from teams like Oklahoma City. or New Orleans over the last couple of seasons. We've got these young players, they've got these picks, they're not going to be that good. They're going to continue to use their own picks to draft good young players. And those are also kind of the two directions you can go in when you're going from veterans and a rebuild to not really having that much of a direction, right? So there's two different sides. Oklahoma City's done a fantastic job of not only continuing to stockpile assets, which I think is the focus, but also in developing their younger players. Lou Dort looks like a guy that's going to be a productive role player for the entirety of his NBA career, and that is important to have, whether it be via trade or on your own team. SGA looks fantastic. There's just a lot of promise. Seems like they've got the right coach, all those things. New Orleans had arguably more assets and better talent than Oklahoma City did at the time they both went into these rebuilds, but they have not handled it properly at all. They're on a couple of different head coaches. Their front office is in a, let's say, awkward spot because it just doesn't seem like people really like David Griffin all that much within the organization. Their guys continue to get hurt at a league high rate. They've got injury issues with Zion. They don't know if Brandon Ingram and Zion fit. They haven't done a very good job of developing some of the younger players outside of Zion and Brandon Ingram. And they've got these future picks, but they might not be nearly as valuable as some of the things that Oklahoma City or Houston have. And so those are the two branches. Those are the two opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how to rebuild a team from veteran players to now being in a rebuild. Those are your two options. You can be Oklahoma City and be well positioned to be an absolute powerhouse over the next couple of seasons, or you can be the Pelicans, who still have that possibility, but certainly have not taken full advantage of the opportunities they provided for themselves by going into the rebuild in the first place, by trading away Anthony Davis, and of course, getting Zion first overall in the draft. And so ultimately, that's where Houston is. Are they going to be the team that executes the rebuild properly, or are they not? And then, of course, the thing that's hanging over them, as well as it seems like half the teams in the league, is the possibility of a Ben Simmons trade. Because when you really look at it, if Houston wanted to, think about all of the... What have we continually heard from Philly about, like, this is what we want in exchange for Ben Simmons? They're like, we want an all-star, we want, maybe a role player, and then we want 3 first-round picks and pick swaps and things like that. Like, there's just a lot of picks that seem to be tacked on at the end where you're like, that seems like a fair deal, and then you read the trade swap stuff or the pick swap stuff, and you're like, wait, that's way too much. Well, when you look at it, Houston has the opportunity. They're not trading Jalen Green, right? But let's just say it was, Eric Gordon and some stuff and a bunch of picks. You can start to put something together, and this is one of my favorite possible Ben Simmons destinations because you add him to the young players that they have, whether it be on the perimeter or otherwise. He can kind of be on his own team, but he's allowed to grow and develop and not have all this pressure on him, and he's out of Philly, and it's just a new situation. It could be a new lease on his NBA career for Ben Simmons, and that would be something that would be very, very exciting. But ultimately, as you can tell, as we go through this, whether it be from a roster standpoint, a payroll standpoint, Houston is in a really, really good spot moving forward, but it depends on what they do with Wall and with Gordon, potentially with Christian Wood as well. It depends on the fit of all these different pieces, and again, it depends on Jalen Green. If Jalen Green comes out this year and he looks like the rookie of the year, the outlook for Houston is significantly different. If he comes out and he looks like just another guy, potentially, then that's obviously going to be a problem for them. I am anticipating him having a similar to Anthony Edwards style rookie year where he puts up a lot of points, and he looks really impressive, and he's got the flashy highlight stuff, but the efficiency isn't really there. And that's something that we've seen out of a lot of rookies, some of which turned out to be not so good, some of which turned out to be outstanding. And so ultimately, this is a big year of evaluation for Houston because it sets them on a path of, we've already found our guy. Jalen Green is that dude that we're going to build around. He is John Morant for us. Or we still have to go and find that guy, and Jalen Green is going to be a complementary piece to whoever that person is. I can't wait. I'm super excited. I want to see what they do with the roster. I want to see what Jalen Green looks like, and it is going to be a very, very interesting season down there in Houston. I'm curious what you guys have to say. What do you think about this Houston team? I know I have a lot of passionate Rockets fans that in the past have maybe not loved all of my takes on this channel, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. Are you hoping this is going to be a good play-in team possibly this year, or do you think it's just going to be a rebuilding team? I know there's a little bit of buzz about them being a play-in team in the West. I don't think they have that kind of talent. I think there's too much shifting and too much change happening with this group, and that probably wouldn't be the best thing for the long-term success of the team anyway in what is already going to be a very, very tough Western Conference. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. But that is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, be sure to check out the box on screen. And as I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it as well. With all those things said, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Once again, my name is Tucker, and I will see you all next time.